Today I'm unboxing the second of the Matchbox challenge. I don't know what's inside it. Why don't you join me and find out right here on Gary's Stuff. Hi, I'm Gary. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. So today is the reveal of the second Matchbox challenge kit. Now the idea is that viewer Simon John has sent me some old Matchbox kits. He sent them individually. I don't know what they are until I open them up on camera, and I don't know whether I'm going to be excited or disappointed or elated or what. You get to see what it is at the same time as I know what it is, and it's fun to do. So anyway, with a bit of trepidation, this is the second reveal video. If you like the show, please do remember, give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. And if you'd like to support the channel at no cost to you, best thing to do is to subscribe to it, hit that bell as well, and you'll be told when all of my future content is published. And of course, if you'd like to offer a bit more concrete support, you can do that through Super Thanks, by becoming a channel member, or by using any of my online partner programs. Well, I'm excited to see what's inside the parcel. Let's find out together on this, the second Matchbox challenge. So here we are, another Matchbox challenge kit to open. Let's see what's inside. You can see it's still sealed up. I've only taken off the address and sender labels to protect the innocent. There we go. What do we have this time? He's even got the right branding, Simon. Well done, my friend. Well done indeed. Simon's Matchbox challenge. Something tells me Simon's enjoying this almost as much as I am. Yes! The Matchbox Fairy Swordfish. How absolutely delightful. And you just know that I'm going to be rigging this. I've got a feeling I'm going to have to do all this rigging, aren't I? Oh, what a beautiful kit. What a beautiful kit. Taranto markings. Very nice. Now, the thing with the, this, now what did they call it? Northern Temperate Scheme or whatever it was. They have dark slate grey and dark green, dark sea grey and dark slate grey on top, this sort of grey and grey. However, the lower wings had slate grey and I think medium sea grey. So it's kind of quite a challenge to get. But I suppose you just sort of do the top and the top of this wing, and then you do the top of that wing separately, and then join the two together afterwards. Maybe I'll figure it out. 824 Squadron, very nice, and 119 Squadron of Coastal Command RAF as well have very nice. It's in the black colours with rockets. So difficult rockets. But a torpedo Taranto. There's got to be HMS Eagle Taranto, hasn't it? Really, realistically. How amazing. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful kit. Let's have a look inside the box. Okay, let's see what's inside. I've taken the shrink wrap off the outside. And we'll have a look at what we've got inside. It's not in a plastic bag, you'll notice. There we go. So one of the wing sections has come off. That's really a minor technicality there. Have the decal sheet, obviously 3 colours of plastic, and the instructions. Let's have a look at these in a bit more detail. Here's the first frame. It has the lower surfaces of the bottom wing and the top wing. It has the struts, the torpedo, parts of the engine, wheels, and the 2 crew members. I do remember the string bag having 3 crew members, but at least they do something. Here's the second frame. Another bit of the engine here. The top halves of the upper and lower planes, the tailplane. This is the bulge for the anti-submarine radar, if you're doing that version. Struts, interplane struts here. All very good, all very nice. And then the third frame, which includes, I'm going to guess these are, actually I don't know what those are off the top of my head. The fuselage sides, these are the rocket rails if you're doing the anti-submarine version with the rockets. There's the rocket rail seats, collector ring and all that for the engine. The rudder and fin, I'm guessing that's probably the arrestor hook there. What has also fallen off, but at no cost to the build, is the propeller. And unsurprisingly, the clear frame is just, it's so small. It's literally just this little windscreen element that's given to the pilot. Well, if you have a look at the plastic itself and the moulding, do you know what? These are all right. They're not, but for however old this kit is, sort of 40 or more years old, this isn't bad moulding of the pilot figures. The straps and all that seem reasonably good. They're not the greatest, but they're a long way from being the worst I've seen. No mention of any particular manufacturer from Margate when I say that. But anyway, the lines on here, as usual, but actually, these aren't panel lines, are they? These are actual, these are like slats and the ailerons, so they're entitled to be quite big. Actually, the moulding of the ribbing over the fabric is possibly a little harsh, but then with the scale effects, and by the time it's all made, it should actually be all right. Look pretty good. It's the front end of the engine. All the cooling fins are nice and crisply moulded. Again, they use this plastic that's actually quite hard by modern standards, and it actually produces quite a crisp mould. That gun, for example, there. Was that a Vickers gun or sort of Lewis gun? I can't remember which is which. Lewis gun, isn't it? The one with the little circular thing there. Wheels, rudimentary, but they'll be all right. They're very rudimentary, in fact. Although this was quite a rudimentary aircraft. Torpedoes just moulded into halves. This torpedo, so that's quite, which I will be using on the kit. It's okay. There's not desperately large amounts of flash, but then all of the gates are quite thick at the contact points. Look at the contact points here at the top of their flying helmets there, and the gates are wider probably than you would use today, I suspect. But then you'll have all sorts of flow improvers and stuff, and these would be quite softer feel to the plastic. Very shiny though, which I'm not sure if that's due to release substances used on the molds or whether the molds are just very highly polished. I suspect the former rather than the latter. I suspect they use some sort of oil, release oil on these. But it's all right. There's bits of the engine here, but molded quite nicely, really quite nicely. I'm guessing these are going to be maybe the caban struts or something over the fuselage. I don't know yet. I don't know what a lot of this stuff is until I actually put it together. These are undercarriage legs, I know that for sure. These are probably platforms. These here, probably platforms for the seats to sit on. This is the ASV radar, air surface radar blob that goes on the, is it Mark III, the one with the rockets? Exhaust stack here as well. Again, pleasantly moulded, not groundbreakingly sharp, but then you know, the plastic feels quite strong. It's a little bit bent there, but that's not a terrible thing. You'll notice this is actually says made in England, which is nice. I think that's wonderful. Before they got taken over by, or the molds got purchased by Revel, I suspect, and then they moved the production off-site. Now you can see the actual panel lines as such are quite deep, but you know, it's a very 70s thing. Panel lines are deep, but you can see the steps here aren't very sharp. Again, as a 70s thing, you know, but you can see where the ribs are and the stringers, longerons, whatever they call these bits. I get told off because I don't know the internal structure of an aircraft. Oh, you called it that? Ha ha ha. Well, look, these to me are ribs or frames or whatever. They're the things that punctuate and show the shape of the fuselage. And then there are these bits here. When you make aeroplanes, you know, like what do they call it? Balsa wood and tissue paper planes, you know, quite often call these longerons or something like that. I don't know. Whatever these are, they're all molded. The mold is actually quite nice because you can see these very definite structures and how the fabric sort of sits across it. It's actually, that part of it, I think, is very good. Again, emphasized a bit, but then with the scale effect and looking from a distance, I think that will work out really well. Here's the rocket launchers here, and rockets molded as single pieces. They're a bit chunky. The fins are a bit chunky by modern standards, I suspect. But what probably would happen now is you'd have the body and the head and the body of the rocket in one piece, and then these fins would either be a separate piece with very fine fins, or it'd be in two pieces or something. This is a lot more makeable, if you get my drift. There's the rudder and fin. Again, that fabric effect I think is very effective. What I take to be the tail hook is a little rough, but yeah, it'll be okay. Here, like the exhaust collector ring, part of the engine. That's all very nice. It's all very good. Again, it's a bit clunky in places, but all the edges are clean, all the joints are clean, so yeah, we should be able to do something nice with this. Here's the decal sheet, a little old, a little yellow, a little grainy looking on the surface here. The carrier film's a little bit grainy looking. Colours not amazing, but then they wouldn't be really after all this time, I don't imagine. The red in particular seems to have faded into this sort of strange pinky colour. I do have some swordfish markings that I can probably use, and some serial numbers to sort of bring them up to scratch, as it were. In my memory, the swordfish had much bigger upper surface roundels than that. Anyway, I'll have a look and see what I can do with those. I'm not going to bother using a lot of these because I'm doing the naval version, so it's just got 5B and the K8419 code there. It's got a couple of those little strange, I don't know what they are, wireless codes or whatever. Those little square things, I can find those from somewhere. And the roundels and the tail fins, tail flash, I should say. So that shouldn't be much of a problem to find those. Another reason, of course, for going to the more up-to-date markings are these are relatively low quality. This WT square here is very difficult to read in red. The little character here on the side, not entirely sure what even that is, which way up it goes or whatever, but it's not great modelling, and everything looks a bit soft, to be honest. All of the markings look a little soft, and as I mentioned before, the colours are, especially the reds, have definitely faded. The instruction manual, or manual sheet, brief history of the aircraft up here, some details of it here, and just sort of a high-key version of some illustration or other on the front of actually of an aircraft dropping a torpedo. Inside, it just folds out, gate folds for here, just some general advice here and here. Also some indication of what these symbols mean. But it is fairly straightforward, to be honest with you. As you can see, the parts are very simple. Oh, that's it. Those four things, I thought those are the tailplane struts. There really isn't much to this kit at all. I can't remember if I ever made one of these in my youth. I really don't know. What's interesting actually here is you've got all the range of what aircraft are available at the time. This would be in 1974, apparently. And they had quite a large number of aircraft. Strike Master, very nice. A Strike Master. Goodness me. Yeah, vehicles. A lot of those, remember, came with little dioramas, which is cool. And then the orange range, a bigger 1/72nd scale aircraft here. There we go. Colours along here. That was some idiot in an Audi going past. We have idiots going past that make a lot of noise. So paints are here. They're in Humbrol colours, which is kind of interesting. I think they're Humbrol colours. Yeah, Humbrol authentic range colours. So dark slate grey, extra dark sea grey. For top, as I mentioned, actually the aircraft the lower wing would have slate grey and medium or dark sea grey, not extra dark sea grey. So slightly lighter colours on the tops of the lower wings, but we can do that. Fire bronze, I'm going to guess that's for the collector ring of the engine, which, as far as I'm aware, actually never was bronze, but we'll cover that when we come around to building. And there we go, all the other various colours there in other languages as well. And mini paint plans is just really quite cute. What colours to paint your pilots, all these little bits that they say maybe you want to paint these first, the interior colours. And all the other little bits of engines and whatever. That's all very nice, all very lovely. All very lovely. All very nostalgic, actually. So there it is, the fairy swordfish, a good old string bag. Now, I haven't made a swordfish kit in a lot of years. I'm guessing about 45 years. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I love the swordfish. It's going to be fun. If you'd like to see how I get on, do please remember, of course, subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell and you'll be notified of all my future videos, including the build video of this kit. And if you like anything you see on the channel, please do remember, give it the old imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. Thank you so very much for watching. Hope to see you again very soon. Take good care now, and goodbye.